This is ROH wrestler Adam Cole, and you are listening to the podcast for WrestlingNewsSource.com.
You're listening to the official Wrestling News Source podcast. For all of your information, go to WrestlingNewsSource.com or find us on Facebook by searching WrestlingNewsSource.com or WNS Podcast. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Stitcher, and iTunes by searching Wrestling News Source Podcast or WNS Podcast. Now, being broadcast in over 30 different countries, here are your hosts, Daniel Herron, Tyler Abear, and Doug.
That's right. What's up, everyone? I am Daniel Herron.
I'm Tyler Abear.
I'm Doug.
And we welcome you to episode 145 of the official podcast for WrestlingNewsSource.com. For all of your information, go to WrestlingNewsSource.com. Check us out on Facebook, WrestlingNewsSource.com. You can find us on Facebook, WNS Podcast, on YouTube, WNS Video, and on iTunes, Wrestling News Source Podcast.
Yo, we're on Twitter at WNS Podcast, and for the main site, WN Source.
We're also on Stitcher, and we just learned that we can get reviews on there too,
Yay!
which is awesome. So thanks to the people who have been over there dropping reviews, and please go and leave us a review on Stitcher as well.
Absolutely. And we do have some reviews, like Doug mentioned. We'd like to go through those to kick off the show. We got a lot of feedback to get through as well. And I'm out of breath because I'm so full from eating Tex-Mex, and it was.
And we just call our nipple tied up, and we're both immediately like, fuck this.
We'll save it for the rest of this.
Doug threw up.
We'll let them show off. So, but yeah, we do have some Stitcher reviews. We would like to thank all three of the people who have written reviews for us at first.
Not sure how long they've been there, but we just figured it out. So,
well, the first one was 2 months ago. The other two have been within a month.
Okay, cool.
Or it says a month ago. So, yeah. So, but the first one coming to us from Red Robin.
Yum!
Saying 5 stars. As a listener since day one of this podcast, I can honestly say that WNS is the best wrestling podcast there is, from audio quality to material. And the best thing about this podcast is its interaction with the listeners. I find it really hard to find a podcast that is this interactive with its fans, and these guys are. It makes me very happy to call Daniel, Doug, and Tyler not only the hosts of my favorite podcast, period, but also my friends. So improve your life and join the WNS podcast army.
Aww.
What a sweetheart.
So sweet.
What a good guy.
Yum. I'm hungry.
Well, I'm glad to be your friend.
Yes. So we certainly do appreciate the feedback. Next one coming to us from Christine, giving us a 5-star as well, saying, great show, one of my favorite wrestling podcasts. Doug, Daniel, and Tyler, keep it fun and have amazing interviews.
All right.
So thank you. We do appreciate this one.
You.
And I think this next one is definitely a fan of Doug's. It's from Jace, gave us 4 stars, saying,
Not bad. We'll take it.
Saying
We'll take it.
It's totally fine.
It's totally okay.
Fun opinions from some real fans. I like to compare their predictions with mine. So thank you very much. So with those 3,
it's totally fine. It's better than stabbing yourself in the eye.
Yeah. So so with those ratings combined, it gives us a 4.7 out of 5, which I think is fair. It's very good.
Yeah, I think
we'll take that's very good.
I'll take 4 stars.
So if you're listening to Stitcher and can find a way to give us some feedback, we would certainly appreciate it. And it's also saying that we appear in 54 playlists on Stitcher alone. So so it's really good stuff. I'm glad that Stitcher is carrying us. They keep our stuff up to date.
Yeah.
As opposed to iTunes, who likes to slack off every now and again, and it doesn't show.
I don't have an iPhone, so if I can listen to podcasts, it's going to be on Stitcher.
Definitely.
So.
Yeah. If you have a smartphone, whether it be iPhone or Android, you can download Stitcher for free. So it's really simple. There you go.
No matter, not to spend a whole lot of time harping on this. Again, we read the reviews because we appreciate the people who take the time to do it. So we want to show that we, respect your time. And we actually do read what you have to say.
Definitely.
Not only that, but no matter where you're listening, iTunes, Stitcher, give us some feedback. If you listen on YouTube, hit subscribe. Maybe click an ad or two, wherever. Hit follow on Twitter, hit like on Facebook, wherever, just little things like that will really help out more than you realize.
Yeah, like us in person. And check out our Facebook page.
See us walking down the street, give us a high five.
Yes.
Yeah, because all the listeners around this area are, oh my God, it's those guys. No. But yeah, we
what
certainly.
Are you talking about?
Yeah, we don't have any listeners in this area. We're more of a worldwide basis. We got a few listeners in Houston, but
Mr. Worldwide.
T-Pain.
No, that's Pitbull.
Yeah, I know. That was the next part of the song.
What song? He says that in all his songs.
Hey,
though.
baby girl, Mr. Worldwide, T-Pain.
He says,
Whatever, he says it. So there you go. So, but yeah, thank you very much for your reviews. Thank you very much for listening.
Sorry it took us a while. We just figured it out.
Yeah. So going into some feedback that we got from our Facebook page and YouTube in regards to last week's episode. First one coming to us from John, saying, our good buddy John Guerra, almost missed that one, but saying, thanks for the plug, Doug. I appreciate it. I also feel it should be Brian getting one over on Triple H and Steph. And yes, the Los Matadores gimmick is racist. I'm sure it was like Epigo and Primo speak Spanish. They're Mexican, right? They're Puerto Rican. Close enough. So that's John's thoughts on the
putting a hash mark by my name.
Yeah. So thank you for the feedback. The next feedback we have is from Andrew, aka Wife Swap, saying just
swap.
So Andrew says, just listening to the show on my new iPad, and I can confirm the shows are finally up to date, referring to iTunes for now. I saw the review and thought straight away, what a douchebag. I know you guys will say he's entitled to his opinion, but there's nothing wrong with the show. Sure, you could improve it by having a competition for WrestleMania tickets, but I think that's something Ben needs to organize and only put the competition to fans of the show in the UK, simply because I can't afford the flights, hotel, and ticket for Mania. Without sounding like I'm licking rectums, this is the only wrestling show I listen to where listeners are made to feel involved, and that you guys are superior to us because you have a podcast. You're just three regular guys having fun, chatting about wrestling and other random side topics, and I applaud you for doing it, no matter for no other reason than for personal entertainment. So thank you very much.
Thanks,
I got a lot to read today, but we do appreciate the feedback.
Sorry about iTunes. There's not much we can do about it.
Yeah, and what else can you say?
I like this. I like that Wife Swap was like a Rabid fan. I was like, we need more Rabid fans.
Yeah,
we're like, ready to fight the other people.
We need
who don't
these
like
diehard guys to, they were in the Bound for Uli, contest for a reason.
Yeah.
So that's what this is all about. The
We're
next
sick and Wife Swap on people who give us bad ratings.
he's taking your girls. So, but the next
Maybe he'll pass his girl and get us a good rating out of it. I don't know. One way or the other.
The next few comments that we have are from our YouTube page, WNS Video. The first one coming from Adam626, saying, great show, guys. I especially enjoyed the debate about how WWE stereotypes different cultures. Would like to hear more discussions like this in the future. And I'm sure, as more topics come up, we'll make sure to include them. Because, we don't plan for these debates. We type up what we're originally going to talk about, but stuff like this does come up.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't believe we ever heard from him before, but thanks for weighing in. We appreciate it. Yeah. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you giving us a listen. Thank you.
We certainly do appreciate it. And another new listener that we haven't heard from, Antoine Davis, saying, hey guys, I really enjoyed the show week after week. I really enjoyed the debate the last few weeks about Heyman's segment, and also the discussion about stereotypes. I agree with Doug on both topics. The stereotype discussion touched home because this has been going on in wrestling for years, i.e. Razor Ramon, Crime Time, Yokozuna, etc. Keep up the great job with the show, guys. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for weighing in.
We certainly do appreciate it.
Put another hash mark by my name.
Are you just keeping tallies now? Or
yeah, I'm keeping tallies.
All right, just making sure. We did get one feedback from Noah, but it was like 8 paragraphs long, so we're not going to read that.
Thanks for listening, buddy.
Yeah.
We do appreciate it. We just can't read all. You wrote a book, son.
Yeah, you did. It's quite a bit. So
we love you.
But the final one coming from Amor Cristiano, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, 33, saying, well, here's the thing regarding being a matador. Anyone can be a matador. Even a white Caucasian American can be a matador, period. Now it's illegal in certain countries. That's a different story. I do find it stupid that you use Puerto Ricans instead of real Mexican wrestlers. Yes, it's kind of stupid, but not all the way. There is 1 or 2 Puerto Ricans that were bullfighters, matadors. And to elaborate what I was saying from last week, Yokozuna was a real sumo wrestler, but jumped to pro wrestling. John Tenta, aka Earthquake, rest in peace, was a sumo wrestler, and he was white. Bullfighting is originally from Spain and Mexico, and Mexico legalized it in their country as well. But again, if you're Chinese, white, Arab, Jewish, if they try out for bullfighting and make it, that makes them a bullfighter. But some people that are stereotypers are just naturally stupid. And for the record, Los Matadores need to come up with a better finishing move.
Okay. I would like to respond to a portion of that.
Okay.
As far as we did claim, at least I claimed ignorance on bullfighting in general, which if I was to make an assumption, I would assume anyone could become a bullfighter.
Right.
That's not necessarily my point. As far as like Yokozuna and things like that go, yeah, I get that, anyone could technically be a sumo wrestler, but they didn't say, hey, this guy is a Samoan guy who became a sumo wrestler. They said, hey, here's a Japanese sumo wrestler.
Yeah.
And I guess a lot of times look, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Like a lot of times I struggle to make my point and I can't articulate it. And maybe like after the fact it'll come to me, and I feel like maybe I can articulate my point a little better this week after giving it some additional thought and how I want to phrase it. I think the problem with say having someone portray a culture that's not theirs is that as a pro wrestler, it feels like, okay, having a match comes first on the list, being able to promo, maybe that's second on the list, worrying about the gimmick, maybe setting up feuds. Like there's so much that goes on your plate as a pro wrestler that I feel like being culturally sensitive is very far down that list, if at all on the list. And maybe it's not even the faults of the guys necessarily, but I don't feel like someone who's portraying a different culture that's a priority enough on their list to make that okay, because they're mostly worried about having matches and promos and things like that. So while they're still trying to get it across that they're, of some other culture, so they're not portraying it like wholeheartedly. It's not like the guy took the time to invest in the culture, learn the finer points of the culture. He's kind of hitting stereotypes to get across that he is of that culture. And whether he intends for that to be outright, to piss people off outright or not, it can come across that way. You know what I'm saying? Like for people of the culture can probably say, hey man, there's a lot more to us than that. Right. Mm-hmm. And while it may not even be his intent to come across so poorly, but that's like the fifth thing down on his list that he's got to worry about. So maybe that's another portion of the problem that I think that's there. Like they probably pay Los Matadores to wrestle and to cut promos and that kind of shit. They don't necessarily pay them to like invest in the culture and to get across that culture in a positive way, in a 3-dimensional way as they're real people, and not this like, well, this is the 5 things we know about Mexicans, so this is what we're gonna say. And so that could leave Mexicans feeling a little turned off and be like, hey man, there's more to us than that, or hey, that's flat, that's 2D, that's not what we are. And I think that's a portion of the problem. And I hope I articulated a little bit better this week why I think it's not a great decision.
Mm-hmm. And going back to what you said about, they didn't take the time to, grow into the culture and stuff like that. One great example that unfortunately fell flat was Tensai. They said, he went over to Japan, became a monster and embraced the culture. And now he's come back to, impose his wrath on the WWE. And unfortunately it fell flat. Right. But that would be a good way, I think, to use, the culture.
I think that's to what's the YouTube commenter's name?
Amor Cristiano.
To Cristiano's to point about he's just a monster samurai dude. Like that was like they didn't say this dude is Japanese. They just said like this guy went to Japan, like immersed himself in the culture and like comes back as this. And I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I just think it's all about being culturally sensitive. Like you don't necessarily, unless you have taken the time to understand the culture, maybe you should not be giving a 2D portrayal of the culture. Right. Maybe that's not in the best interest. And I don't want to linger on about this. I'm sorry. I felt like I could possibly maybe get across my point a little bit better this weekend.
Yeah.
So I want to spend
add a little bit to
Right.
it, for anyone who might be, be questioning it,
Right.
Just say, oh, I don't feel, you got the point across. There you go. But thank you everyone for your feedback. We certainly do appreciate it. And as always, keep the comments coming. If it gets to a point where, we're spending 20, 30 minutes going on something like that, just reading feedback alone, we might cut it back a little bit. So just a heads up, try not to make the comments, too long. We might sum it up a little bit, but but we still appreciate the comments. Make sure to keep those coming. But moving on in to Raw this past week, we kick things off with Shawn Michaels coming out to address the crowd, saying that there is going to be a new champion at Hell in a Cell. He'll make sure of it, and then Randy Orton comes out, basically tries to intimidate him. So, it was an interesting kickoff to Raw. And shortly thereafter, Miz decided to attack Orton early as the promo was coming to a close. But what did you guys think about the promo itself?
I mean, it was fine. He tried to do the old guy who's hip thing, which I don't necessarily appreciate.
Was he still doing Izzle?
He did the
HB
shizzle thing.
Shizzle.
And I mean, I guess it's technically was a fine explanation of why he's in the match, but I don't think there was much substance there.
Yeah, and then he kind of did the, I'm just gonna ignore everything that Randy Orton's saying. Oh, you're just trying to intimidate me. Oh, I didn't. Were you talking? I wasn't even paying attention. And, interesting stuff like that. But it did lead into the first matchup. But go ahead, Tyler.
Oh, sorry. Has there been any interaction with Shawn Michaels and Triple H?
No, none so far, and neither with Daniel Bryan for that matter.
Yeah.
So maybe next week we'll get to see something of that nature. But Miz did come down and attack Randy Orton, which prompted their matchup. I felt the match was an okay opener. Randy Orton ended up getting the victory with a distraction from the Wyatt family, who, over the course of the weekend, Bray Wyatt suffered a leg injury. I think they said it was his hamstring during a live event, and so he might be out of action for a few weeks. They said that he was walking on crutches backstage and stuff like that. So kind of tough to happen, but things have to get done. But it looks like they might be building for a Bray Wyatt versus Miz feud coming up, because Bray cut a promo saying, why do you obsess over fame, and you're everything that I hate about this culture or something like that. But what do you guys think about the matchup and then the Bray Wyatt promo?
I thought the match was perfectly fine. It felt like they worked hard, but it was just like an opening match on Raw. Nothing special about it. He got the win when Wyatt, not
Cause a distraction.
he distracted him.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's a good person for the Wyatt family to?
I mean, it's something, I guess.
They still feel a little aimless. Like, I don't know if the
Like, weren't they picking on Kofi Kingston a few weeks ago?
I could get if what they were using them for at the moment was to take unused guys off of TV.
Mm-hmm.
I think I could get behind that, like they did with Kane.
Yeah.
Even though he was going to do a movie or whatever, like I feel like, well, we're not using Kofi. Like, we would take Kofi off TV for better. I feel like that's a fine way to use them. Or even like, I could even see them doing like a Flock-esque thing where they're kind of like taking these guys
under their wing.
Yeah, well, not under their wing, but like forcibly under their wing. These guys who don't have any direction, and like, making them part of the family. And I could see them doing that even, but it just other than that, it feels really aimless. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have nothing for him.
I don't think they do right now. I think they had an idea with Kane, and it fizzled very quickly. And then afterwards, they're like, now what? So kind of scrambling for them to have something to do. Next up, we got to see Fandango going up against Santino Marella. Just a quick match, kind of fun. They did their, comedy gimmicks. And Fandango ended up getting the victory. Anything really to add from that?
No, Santino was funny. The match was there. I don't know.
Yeah.
This
All
is
right.
like they've versed each other for like what? How many weeks or no? It's been
on.
It's been on and off for a while, and it seems like a couple of the Raw matches have been just sort of copy and paste of previous weeks, and like with Los Matadores going up against 3MB again. It's just, I don't know. I don't know where they're going with some of these, other than just saying, oh, let's try and get these guys over. We'll have them in another match. Same turnout. But backstage, we got to see Paul Heyman talking to Brad Maddox, showing him clips from the previous pay-per-view. Was it Battleground, I think?
Yes.
Where CM Punk cheated to get the victory, and saying that it needs to be a handicap match between CM Punk and Ryback with Curtis Axel. And Maddox says, well, how about this? How about we do a beat the clock challenge? And, if you win, you can have your stipulation. But if Punk wins, then he gets to choose the stipulation. So that kind of set up for something, which, I'm glad that they brought back the beat the clock challenge, because, it's kind of fun, but sometimes it's also kind of bad, depending on how the person wrestles. I felt like, Ryback during his match, while chasing R-Truth around the ring, didn't really have much of a rush in him, like a rush feel, whereas Punk's offense was very quick. He was trying to, quickly make covers. But we'll dive into those matches in just a little bit. But next up, we got to see Los Matadores going up against Heath Slater and Drew McIntyre of 3MB. And the Bull, what was it? El Torito going out, putting on a show for the fans, getting some reactions. Los Matadores ended up picking up the victory on this one. What did you think about it, Doug?
Well, one of the things that I like about Los Matadores is that their gimmick affects like how they wrestle. Like, I think that's kind of like an underutilized thing, where because of your gimmick, you have a certain style about yourself. And I appreciate that, but I feel like they're still lacking in the ring. I felt like they were a lot sharper just as Primo and Epico when there wasn't pressure to do this. Although I like
the Flash.
Yeah, I feel like because the pressure is there to do that, it doesn't necessarily connect all the time. But I do like that they have said, okay, we're Matadors, so we're going to make that affect how we wrestle.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the effort.
And the crowd was hot. I mean, it was a hot crowd all night.
Right.
So
they do things that I kind of know what they are, but they don't. Like when they do the weird, like 11-in-1 style hands. I'm saying this because obviously you can't see me, but like that's when they do those like weird little mark things for the bulls or whatever when they're going to stab them or something. Is that what that is?
I think so.
I don't know. Like, I appreciate the effort, but I think there's it's lacking. But it was totally fine.
So you're saying we need more visual from them, like having them actually stab Heath Slater and Drew McIntyre.
No, I thought Drew McIntyre looked sharp in this. I like McIntyre. I think he's underutilized.
And there's talks of having him break away from 3MB in the near future and sort of go back to that chosen one, stick that he had a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, like, I appreciate the effort. I'm not saying they need to incorporate even further. I think that they need to work out the kinks in what they have going on.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, Los Matadores ended up getting the victory over Slater and McIntyre.
I like incorporating Torito into the finish, though, on the end.
Yeah. It was good stuff.
What they do?
Well, how they do their finish where it's kind of like a double Samoan drop?
Yeah.
Well, they get by the ropes and Torito springboards off, and he kind of like, not sentons, but how Ray does like the seated like senton on him? He does that up on their chest while they drop down with the double Samoan drop. That was terrible. Anybody who didn't see it didn't know what the fuck I'm talking about right now, but I tried, goddammit.
Fear the bull, as JBL likes to say. I don't know how.
Have you guys like noticed the weird thing they're doing with like Renee Young in the bull, like Torito? Like he flirts with her whenever he's back there, and I've looked at it. He has this on Twitter, right? So
oh God,
him and Renee Young are like making like hearts and like bull like kissy face things tweeting it back at each other. So there's like a burgeoning like romance between Renee Young and El Torito.
And that's sweet.
Oh,
which is kind of cool. I don't know.
That's awesome.
I'm fine with it.
So next up we got to see Triple H and Stephanie come out and address the crowd talking about Big Show, and man, the crowd definitely got hot for this one, chanting "You got knocked out." chanting yes just to piss off Triple H. Triple H finally saying, every man has every authority figure has his breaking point. You want me to be the bad guy? Fine, I'll be the bad guy. I'll show you something you've never seen before. So, what did you think about this segment? Because later on it did lead to Daniel Bryan coming out, hot crowd once again. Then he was attacked by Alberto Del Rio. So, what did you think about it?
I don't know. I kind of enjoyed Triple H in this role.
Yeah.
But there's like some weird subtext that he's kind of like placating Stephanie a bit, like weird. Like maybe Stephanie's kind of like the head honcho and he's kind of like appeasing her by going around doing this. Do you guys read in some weird subtext about that? About it's not maybe she's more in charge? Or do you feel like it's a 50?
She is announced as partial owner of the
Right.
WWE, which
I know
is weird.
he's just a suit with an office job. It
Yeah,
happens
pretty
weird.
much.
But do you think they're doing more power? Like this is our power. We're a power couple, Neil before. So do you think there's like a subtext that she's really in charge and he's like,
Yeah.
and he's like he's being sent around to like, you know what I mean?
I could see that. I don't see it at the moment, but I haven't.
I think there's some weird tendencies there. I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm just saying that it felt like maybe they're kind of morphing the angle from what it originated as. I'm fine with Triple H in this role. I kind of believe him in this role. And
he's always made he's made a much better heel than he has a face.
Douchebag.
So and the fact that he was just like, oh, fine, you want me to be the bad guy, I'll be the bad guy. You could just you could see that turn in his body language that he was gonna be the bad guy. So I don't know. What do you think, Tyler?
Maybe I don't see it about the whole Stephanie thing. What was it? Was it a few weeks ago when she was like, was it last week? I don't know, where she was like, Triple H has gave up everything for y'all, like for the people and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And it sounded like she was, like defending him, like, hey, he's the boss, and I don't know, just
Show him respect.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
But I didn't see this week, so
Yeah.
so I don't know.
She wears the pantsuit in this family.
Pantsuit.
So yeah. Like I said, Brian did come out. He was ambushed by Del Rio. The kick that Del Rio gave to Brian was just sickening. Like he just slaps it. He does it so well that he gets such a good.
Nah, he got some cheek on that. If you watch the replay, he definitely got some cheek.
Yeah.
And if you look at Brian's
Oh,
face
yeah.
when he was rubbing, he was definitely like
Mm-hmm.
right up in there.
So he made a pretty good connection. So that takes us into the first Beat the Clock challenge. Ryback going up against R-Truth. Match started, and R-Truth kind of knew what he had to do. He just kind of ran around the ring for a while, and then he picked his spot, tried to attack Ryback, but Ryback ended up being too much for him, and Ryback got the victory in 5 minutes 44 seconds. So what do you think about the matchup?
I rather enjoyed this match.
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool twist. I like that Truth was like, well, I like that he was like, okay, I'm just going to run around and eat up some clock. I think that's a cool twist on the formula. But the other part of that formula to me says, well, maybe the guy doesn't think he can win if he's just trying to eat clock. So it's like a double-edged sword. It's like,
Right.
It's like, oh, clever. He's gonna eat clock, but is he eating clock because he doesn't think he can win, or like
He's trying to help out CM Punk.
right? Well,
Yeah.
I guess that's another argument for the eat clock segment.
Yeah.
He's just like, well, he is not a guy with anything at stake in this match except
Right.
for a loss. So maybe he's just helping Punk out. I thought it was a cool twist, and plus I buy Ryback as the meathead who's like, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna chase him.
Looking at he was looking at Paul Heyman like, what do I do? And Heyman's like, go after him. What are you
Right.
doing?
So I totally buy Ryback as like a lot of guys. I'm like, okay, you don't just work a normal match. You like don't show enough intensity here for this gimmick match. But with him, I buy it. He's just like, what do I do? He's running away from me.
Corn-fed meathead.
Right. I buy it. I mean, and I thought it was it's a little bit of a problem with Truth's intentions. I thought it was clever enough, and I enjoyed it.
I would think since, like my mindset would be, R-Truth, if it had been just a one-on-one matchup, he would try and fight him head on.
Right.
But since last week, Punk kind of gave him the rub, saying, "Oh, you get the pin."
Right.
It was sort of him.
But
Okay,
if he
well,
would've
I'll
won,
help
though,
you
he-
out.
If he would have won, he would have gotten beat the clock, or is that supposed to be just for Ryback?
It was just for Ryback. It was for Paul Heyman. So, but yeah, so Ryback ended up getting the victory. 5 minutes 44
It's
seconds.
weird that they don't do that. It's both ways.
Yeah. Well, this is more for between Paul Heyman and CM Punk.
Oh, it's not for.
It's not for any kind of title or
Oh, okay,
anything.
never
It's, so it's just sort of, you get to choose the stipulation. So backstage we got to see Stephanie McMahon walking up to Brie Bella saying, "Hey, congratulations on your engagement. By the way, your sister's not going to be able to go out to the ring with you. So good luck with that." I felt like there was more to it, but she was like, "Didn't you see what your fiance did to my husband last week when he was chanting yes with his tie and all that?"
Yeah.
Something like
It
that.
was definitely all that played into it.
Yeah. It was weird. So, anyways, anything to add from it?
Not really. That's the gist of the segment.
Okay. Next up, we got to see the Real Americans going up against Tons of Funk. And, this was, it was an entertaining matchup. It wasn't anything great.
He didn't just swing to Tensai, huh? Or Brodus.
He tried to do it to Brodus, and then Tensai tried to stop him. This was after the match. And so he threw Brodus out of the ring and tried to do it to Tensai, and he got him like 3 rotations. But it sort of seems like that's all they're building towards now. Is like they're just going to have their match just so we can see Cesaro get a swing, And the crowd seemed a little bit disappointed that he didn't get to go around and around and around and around and around. But
Tensai's a thick motherfucker.
Yeah, he is huge, especially compared next to.
He's compact. He's not the tallest dude in the world,
Right.
But he's a compact, stout motherfucker.
Well, he's still pretty tall.
Yeah, I'm sure he's tall, but it's not like he's swinging Kyle Lee. I'm saying,
Yeah. Or are you talking about Cesaro?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was talking about Tensai.
That's what I'm saying. He's not the tallest dude in the world. He's really not, but he's put together. He's like a stout dude.
He's just bulk. That's all he is. So for Cesaro to even spin him around once is impressive in my eyes. But the Real Americans did end up defeating Tons of Funk.
Like us being thick dudes in the studio, we're sitting here trying to come up with clever ways for saying thick dudes.
He's a fat man.
That's a
but
fat
he's not. He's not.
We can
fat.
say it.
He's just bulky. So I'm not fat. I'm just getting in shape. So next up, we got to see Tamina Snuka with AJ going up against Brie Bella.
You're beautiful, sweet tea. You're beautiful, just like you are. I don't want to give you any body issues.
Yeah,
it's all good. I'm a big man myself.
Big guy. So, so next up we got to see Tamina Snuka going up against Brie Bella. I felt like the match was a little bit stale. It was the only thing that happened after the match that was, kind of worth watching, where, Tamina ended up getting the victory, but then she continued her attack on Brie, jumping off the top rope, doing the big splash, and then AJ applied her submission lock to Brie, to which, after the match, Nikki kind of trotted down to the ring and was like, "Hey, stop that!" So, did I pretty much get the nail on the head on that one?
Yeah, but I will add that I enjoyed this more than any Divas match that I could think of, probably since the AJ Caitlyn title matches, which I thought were pretty decent. I thought this was pretty good. I think the myth of Tamina Snuka is like a wonderful women's worker, much like Natalya, is greatly exaggerated. I think they're totally fine, but I think they're just being held back because they're so fucking. I think maybe, but we haven't never really seen it.
They haven't been given the chance to show themselves.
Maybe it's lack of opportunity, but there's still no proof there. But I kind of enjoyed her. We don't often get to see she kind of played like a tough brawler chick where she was just kind of beating Brie around almost like you would expect out of a big man match, a big man little man match, just kind of although she's not that much bigger really.
Yeah,
I mean she's a tall chick, but I think but
as far as size,
yeah, I thought it's just something we don't normally see, and maybe that's why I appreciate it. It stuck out to me because we don't normally see that type of match from the Divas division,
right?
But I thought it was totally fine. I had no problems with it.
It's just getting some time.
And Brie, I don't know. I don't know what kind of reaction they're getting from the crowd. Like, they're supposed to be playing the role of the face, but there was no, moment where they said, okay, this is where they're going to be the good guys now, or the good girls now.
You still feel like they're heels.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're being picked on by Randy Orton and Stephanie McMahon. So by default, they're good now. I don't get it. And
I think they're trying to piggyback off the popularity of their boyfriends, to be honest.
And I'd like to see a little more from Brie instead of the screaming, come on, because that just reminds me of Kelly, and that drives me insane.
You like Kelly.
She's good to look at. That's about it. That's about as far as it goes.
Also.
So, next up, Tamina ended up getting the victory. Next up, we got to see Daniel Bryan going into the office of Brad Maddox and Stephanie McMahon, yelling at him. Why would you do that? Did you see what happened to my fiance? And then Stephanie was like, hey, don't you have to tend to her, by the way? And don't you have a match coming up? So
I had a problem with this. If she was simply Brian's valet or simply Brian's girlfriend who was hanging around, who got bullied around or beat up by a female wrestler, absolutely, Brian, go chew some ass up over that.
Mm-hmm.
But she is technically she is a woman's wrestler, so the fact that she lost a match, even if she severely lost a match, is not an excuse to go in there.
It was the fact that she was beat up after the match.
Well,
They're divas, not female wrestlers.
That's really not the read that I got on it. I hate this. I don't mind being broader in the stories that we tell, but I don't think it is essential to get away from, if these people get hurt, that's a reason to get mad over stuff during matches, because they're all wrestlers. And even though we don't call them wrestlers, it's the very basic, very most basic building block of what these guys are, is they get in a ring and they fake fight. So whenever they're getting in there and they're fake fighting and they get hurt off of it, that can't be a reason. Getting hurt in a match cannot be a reason for you to be mad.
Yeah.
Having a match cannot be a reason to get mad. That's the very exact reason you're there, is to get in fights and be in matches.
Done it a different way,
right?
But let's clarify something. Wrestling is not fake.
You know what I mean?
It's still real, damn it.
It's still real to me, damn it.
So, but I get what you're saying.
Is it real to you?
But but yeah. So if she was attacked just randomly in her dressing room or in the hallway or something.
Yeah, the Rapex Predator was...
The Rapex Predator striking again. Yeah, sure. But, it's part of the match. Why didn't he go out there during the match or after the match or something,
Just like when Big Show was, sad that he had to finish a match with his finishing move that he uses any other fucking time.
Right. Oh.
Fine. It is absolutely tell broader stories to your heart's content, but you cannot get. I refuse to accept that I'm mad because you put so and so in a match as a reason to be mad, and I refuse to accept I had to finish a match as a reason to be mad. You're fucking there to wrestle. That is the very basic block of why you're on TV. I can't accept that. Tell any story you want, but that is part of the equation.
Yep.
It doesn't stop ever being part of the equation.
Exactly. So, what can you do? It's WWE. But next up, we got to see CM Punk going up against Curtis Axel in a Beat the Clock challenge. And Punk ends up getting the victory with, I think, 11 seconds to spare, somewhere around there.
Right.
And so he decided to pick the stipulation right then and there. He's going to go up against Ryback and Paul Heyman in Hell in a Cell. So we're going to have a second Hell in a Cell matchup for the pay-per-view, which is good. At first, I was thinking that the Cena Del Rio match was going to be inside Hell in a Cell, but I'm guessing it's just going to be one-on-one traditional.
I feel like they're teasing what we talked about maybe him coming back just to be out longer.
Yeah.
I felt like they talked about because they're do you guys think this is foolish for him to come back this soon and to rush back from injury? What kind of
and so
risk
then
is he
after the
taking?
match, they'd be like, JBL would be he came back too soon.
Right.
He pushed himself too hard.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about JBL on commentary. Sometimes I'm digging it and sometimes I'm not. And I kind of want to get
He doesn't know how to pick his spots.
Yeah.
his character works in certain spots, and he never knows when to hold back and not be that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
When it comes to Triple H, he's a sympathizer.
Right.
But when it comes to anything else, he's Mexico's greatest export. El Torito, fear the bull. Well, that's why you got to do that.
Right.
It's Triple H. He's the boss. You got to listen to him. He shot a man in the face. That's what he wanted to do. It's his job.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about it? I mean, obviously.
I was trying to articulate. I don't know that I can, but
Gotcha.
I agree. Like I'm not like a blind JBL lover like a lot of people are.
Like I used to be, because he would be like full blown heel, or he would pay a little more attention to what's going on in the match, like for example, WrestleMania, I think it was 23. Jeff Hardy does the spot where he jumps off the ladder onto Edge. And he's like, "What are you doing? Grab the briefcase, you fool! You're passing this opportunity up." I like that he has that passion, but whenever he's, going back and forth between, we're having fun, we're having a great time. That's just that's what we need to do.
Right?
And, why are you attacking me? I didn't do anything wrong. It's just, I don't know.
At times he's annoying.
Yeah, like I get it that He's being sort of the heelish commentator, because Cole is the play-by-play and Lawler is the loved color commentator who's losing it, and then you have JBL who's supposed to be the the guy who antagonizes him. But just I don't know how I feel. I would like to hear some feedback on what the people think about JBL as a commentator right now. Not necessarily what he was in the past, whenever it was just him and Michael Cole on SmackDown, which, yes, it is now as well. But, where is he now? So, I'd like to hear from you. And you.
Y'all were talking about John Cena right before. Yeah, to playing with all the stuff WWE. I'm friends with them on Facebook. They shared a link. A story that says John Cena's struggle, why WWE's biggest star can't take time off.
Ooh, interesting.
So maybe that's like too obvious. I don't know.
It's possible, but it's one of those things. They're worried about ratings. They're worried about buy rates and stuff like that. And so
I don't know.
And so
do they care about the health of?
No, really. I mean, I know they're gonna they want to try and build the next big star.
He is Hulk Hogan.
He is. He's the Hulk Hogan of this generation.
He's going to be, after he retires, and he's going to wrestle again.
Yeah. I mean, in the 80s and early 90s, it was Hogan. Then mid-90s rolls around, it was Steve Austin and The Rock. And now it's John Cena.
Well, after Stone Cold retired, he didn't wrestle again.
Yeah. Well, but
Stone Cold
saying.
said he never technically said he retired. He just stopped wrestling.
Hogan
still wants to wrestle. Yeah. If the paycheck is right.
Him versus a boat.
Which supposedly Hogan is going to be re-signing with TNA and going to be paid quite a large amount.
Large for TNA, but chump change compared to the Fed guys. Supposedly, he makes a salary of a year what either Lesnar or The Rock makes for one match or something like that.
So I hope that he can do more good over there, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how the next couple years are for TNA. Brother. So next up, we got to see Alberto Del Rio going up against Daniel Bryan. In this matchup, I
just want to touch really quickly on the Punk beat the clock. I thought Heyman was really great in this the entire time, showing self-doubt. Not self-doubt. The kind of undertone of the relationship between Heyman and Axel is that he constantly is doubting him. He never has faith in him. And I thought it was never played so well as in this match where he's
even before the match
just hold him down. Just hold him down.
Even before the match opened, they were walking to the ring. He's 5 minutes and 44 seconds. That's all you have to do. Just last that long. If you can just stay away from him. Stay away from him. Last that long. Hold him down.
Axel's trying to win. He's just hold him down. Just hold him down.
I can do this, Paul. Just hold him down. What are you doing? So I think that that chemistry works with Curtis Axel, with him he's trying to prove himself to Paul Heyman, but Paul Heyman's like, no, dude, don't, just stop and listen to me.
Has no faith in the kid.
Just listen to me. And so he's trying, but it's just not getting through. So, that's something I enjoy, but, I'm glad you brought that up because I'd forgotten about it until you mentioned it. So yeah, the next matchup got to see Daniel Bryan going up against Alberto Del Rio. This matchup ended in a count out after Randy Orton went into the trainer's room where Nikki and Brie were and shut the door, and then you hear a scream. So Daniel Bryan tried to rush to save the day, and Del Rio held him off, and Bryan got the upper hand and then rushed to save his girlfriend or fiance. Gets backstage to the trainer's room and walks into the room saying, Brie, where is he? And she says, I don't know.
He came right out the corner.
He came right out of the corner. Yeah. So
like that room is not big enough to be able to hide in.
Yeah. And
where could he be at?
and it was one of those where it's just like, Brie, where is he? I don't know.
Right fucking behind you.
Yeah, she could have said he left or he's not in here. And then
the camera
appears,
can't see him.
Yeah. I don't.
Or make him run in and then they like go back to the door and he swings the door open behind him or something.
Yeah.
Like he runs right back into the room. Yeah, it was really bad. They could have picked a better way to do that. And the match was going like really well.
Yeah.
I like this pairing. I like this matchup. But there's like some serious like rapey overtones to like Orton trying to corner these girls in rooms and stuff. And he's always like catching her. And again, I'm not like, I don't want to like.
I'm going to pounce on her.
I'm going to screw you.
Again, like I'm not making light of rape. Like seriously, I'm not making light of rape. But there's some seriously like sexual overtones to the way he keeps like getting her alone or trapping her in rooms and stuff. It's a little weird.
Get over.
Want to see my Viper?
It's totally weird. And I love that Bryan was like not like he was like trying to get out, and then Del Rio kept like attacking him, and he was like fighting to get up to get out of the ring to go and save her. So I thought that was a nice touch. And the room thing was like, inexcusable.
And the acting by the Bellas were just terrible.
Yeah.
Like she yelled stop like once. She was just like stop.
Right.
She should yell rape.
No, I don't think that would have been very good. But
rape.
The little kids were like, "Mommy, what's rape mean?" I learned it watching Raw. So that would have been
like I don't want I want to be like very clear that like I don't think like lightly of rape. Like
Right.
I'm not. I don't want to make anyone like uncomfortable at all. I'm just saying that I feel like there are some definitely like weird overtones to that whole thing where Orton keeps coming up on Brie when she's like alone or
Where's
like in a room.
JoJo in all of this?
Oh shit.
God. So Del Rio wins via
Secretly
count
got
out.
fired.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like they're just going to hold her off until like the season finale.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, we got to let you go. Sorry." But
You're done.
yeah. So we got to let you go. But next up we got to see Triple H and the Shield. Shield we're talking about there, man. Yeah, I can't wait for this, blah blah blah. And Triple H, said
You got this, boys.
we're going to give you a pep talk. Yeah. And he's going to make the title match between Cody Rhodes and Goldust, no disqualification.
Y'all got this.
Yeah.
3-on-2.
Yeah, it can be. Which I was confused as to why it wasn't that from right in the beginning or something, but it's beyond me. Well, that takes us into the final matchup: Cody Rhodes and Goldust going up against the Shield in a no disqualification match. The matchup itself, really good work. Both teams put on a really good show. The crowd was hot for it. And then it seemed like once, Cody Rhodes and Goldust were getting the upper hand, that's when Dean Ambrose made his presence known. Really? It was like, they can, we can't beat them, so I guess I'm gonna have to get involved in this.
Step up.
So that's when everything broke down, and Goldust took a hellacious spear through the barricade from Roman Reigns, and it was just a really entertaining matchup. Big Show ended up coming through the crowd and, knocking everybody out and allowing Cody Rhodes and Goldust to get the victory. Yeah, so they ended up winning, becoming the new tag team champions.
All right.
So, the crowd was definitely hot for that. Triple H came out and he was pissed off, and, Big Show led the crowd in a yes chant. So what did you think about the matchup, Doug?
I thought the match was great. I thought it was really emotional. A lot of cool stuff done, a lot of cool spots. I just think they did a fantastic job of getting everyone invested in the match. I'm fine with Big Show coming out to even the odds. Have no problem with that whatsoever, but I hated the finish of Cody springboards for the beautiful disaster kick, and Roman Reigns ducks it. Big Show hits the KO punch and knocks Roman Reigns out. Cody gets the cover. After all the shit that was going haywire, I'm fine with like Show coming out, evening the odds, and causing a distraction. But I can't help but feel like they have to, even with Big Show causing a distraction to even the odds, they have to physically be able to win the match themselves.
Right.
Like, if like he distracted Roman Reigns and then Cody hit the kick and then pinned him himself, totally fine. It's great. It's gravy. But I hated the fact that Show knocked him out and he was the legal guy. They could have given that to them and it would have been the exact same match. I get the idea that you're trying to further progress the Big Show story, and you have to have him come back because he was fired. Like, they have to have a reason for Triple H.
Where was security and all
right?
this?
Triple H has to have a reason to address him again to further the story. And I think you can still accomplish that with Big Show just coming out and evening the odds and causing a distraction without him actually physically being the one who put the guy down to win the match.
Right.
Other than that, I loved every second of it. But I feel like, that's a glaring error. I felt like it could have been better.
But other than that, the matchup I thought was really well done. They both sides showed a really good match. And there's talk going around that Big Show may have been rehired secretly by Vince McMahon. So what do you think about that being a possible storyline? Well,
we talked about it last week. I think it's a possibility.
Yeah. So we'll have to see where it goes from there. So that's pretty much how we closed out Raw. Not too bad of a show. You all right there, Tyler?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So so there you go. Don't really have any hot topics for this week, do we? Not that I can think of. Anything that you can think of? WWE 2K14 set to come out pretty soon.
Yeah, pretty soon.
You getting excited about it?
No, not really.
No.
But I am gonna get it though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, before we move over into the hot topics, we do want to make a little plug about what's coming up this weekend. I know Friday night we've got a big show to go to in Humble. Just I think it's just north of Houston. Doug, you want to elaborate a little bit about that?
Well, NWA Houston is putting on a big show, I guess, in conjunction with New Japan Pro Wrestling. They're bringing a ton of not a ton, but like about 6 New Japan guys in, which is crazy. And they're supposed to have a Rob Conway, who's the NWA champ, is supposed to be there. Michael Tarver is supposed to be there. A bunch of cream of the crop Texas indie dudes are supposed to be there. Looks like a stacked show, and it should be a good time.
Yeah, so there you go. So if you happen to be within driving distance of that, definitely make plans to head on out
Jushin
there.
Liger, what else do you need to know?
There you go.
Even in his old age and way past his prime, it's totally worth going to see Jushin Liger.
and we'll be out there as well. And then this coming weekend on Saturday, Hurricane Pro Wrestling is going to be knocking it out of the park in the Beaumont Civic Center. So definitely go and check that out as well. But now it's time to go into the Q&A portion of the show. Your questions, our answers. First question coming to us from Thomas. Drop it low, son.
Drop it low, son. Drop it low, son.
Saying we're only a few weeks away from WWE 2K14, and one of the new interesting features in this game is the streak part, where you can choose whether to defend or defeat the 21-0 winning streak of The Undertaker. So if you were placed in the position of a WWE creative member and you had to end the streak, who from the current roster would you choose, and how would the storyline go?
Well, just for the record, even though I have to end it, I would just say, for the record, if within my power, I would never end the streak.
Yeah. Never bet on The Undertaker.
But
against The Undertaker, I should say.
But of all the guys that they have currently on the roster, there's only one guy that I feel is not over enough to where it's like the perfect spot for him to get the lifelong rub off of it. And I would say Cesaro is the guy. Brian's too huge at this point. He doesn't need it. Punk, Wade hasn't needed it in a long time. I don't see a lot of other viable opponents. think Cesaro's your guy. I think he could be a main eventer for life off of that. How I would do it, I guess, like I would continue with the trend of like basing feuds around like cool like feats of strength on guys, like maybe feud Cesaro with Big Show for a little bit, a month or so, just
Work his way up the big men.
Yeah, just to say he could hit the neutralizer in the big swing on the show, and then maybe he works a short program with Mark Henry where he's able to hit like neutralizer or big swing, like impressive on a big dude like that, and he's just gloating about how he's been through everybody and there's no one that can fucking stop him.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you could probably just gong in the promo at that point and start a program like, oh bitch, you haven't run through everybody. I don't know. Something like that. I'd feed Show and Henry to him for sure. And I think that's enough of, hey, cool athletic spots and name power to say he's ready to fight someone like Taker.
Yeah. And it'd be good for the video packages because they'd be like, he could go out and they'd say, I've gone through all the big men in this business, and Mark Henry, Big Show, Khali, no one can stop me, Tensai, Brodus Clay, someone else. And then
gong.
Yeah, then you hear the gong.
I don't know.
You kind of have to go through the list of people who, one, aren't, who don't have that big rub, because this, if you're going to do this, this is going to solidify your career.
And you don't want to waste it on someone who's over.
Yeah, so Cena's out. Cena.
I do think they should do that match, though.
That would be a good match to see, but you're not going to have Cena get the win.
Right. Definitely not.
You take a guy like CM Punk, who already has enough credentials. He had his shot. He didn't get it done. Daniel Bryan, I don't think, while they would put on an entertaining match, too many people would say, oh, that's not believable for Bryan to get the win. So I think, and a lot of people would definitely argue Dolph Ziggler because he's a fan favorite, especially with the internet. But I think Cesaro would be your guy. He's looking for that big thing to get him in. He's won a couple championships and they haven't really given him anything to go with. He's starting to develop that big swing, that's over with the crowd. I think Cesaro would be a great matchup for that. And he's believable because they keep saying, pound for pound, he's the strongest guy. And week by week, he's proving it, by going out and doing stuff like that. So I'd agree with Doug. I think Cesaro would be a great pick. How about you, Tyler?
I do agree with y'all, but I would like to see someone else, different. I mean, I agree that Cesaro's doing great, and you want to get into that next level, and that would be great. Let's see, someone else. I know this guy is really not at, I guess, he's a good wrestler, but he's not like Cesaro. He's not in Cesaro's position, but Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre, if you feel like they can build that up into something, I could see that, because he's a big guy. He's not like huge, but he's a tall guy. He's muscular. He's got a good look to him. So I could see. Well, I don't know if I could see that happening, but it would be a good.
Be something good.
It would be a good someone to give a good rub to. So, but he would have to prove himself.
Who now?
Drew McIntyre.
Oh, cool.
So yeah. So there you go. For those listening, give us some feedback on that. Who would you have?
Also, I don't know the full details about the streak mode, but in the game, Undertaker's gonna lose.
Every single match.
Yes.
0-21.
Yes, that's how it's gonna be.
All right. So there you go. Final question coming to us from Hugh, saying "Konnichiwa, DDT."
Right.
Now that we are fully into the month of Spooktober, I have a few questions on my mind. Uno, do you guys enjoy horror movies? And if so, what are your favorite ones? Do you guys want to take this one at a time, or do you want me to read it all?
However you want to do it. What do you think?
Okay. We'll take it one at a time. So do you guys enjoy horror films? And if so, what are your favorite ones?
No, I do not enjoy horror movies. I'm a giant fraidy cat. It took me pretty deep into my teenage years, until I was pretty okay with horror movies. Like, I can watch a horror movie now, I'm fine, right? But I don't know, any like realistic ghosty stuff still freaks me the fuck out. Like your paranormal activities and shit like that. That will freak me
Stuff
the
moving
fuck
with nothing being there.
Yeah, that'll freak me the fuck out. And God, no torture porn whatsoever. I don't need fucking. I don't need see people. I don't need shit like Saw, seeing people get cut up and fucking. That I have a weak ass stomach. Like I can handle like violence and say like a Kill Bill or a fucking
Right.
or whatever. Like where it's like, well, these dudes are fighting with swords. Obviously, some shit's gonna get hacked up, right? But I don't need people like strapped to chairs getting cut up for fun. That shit is not cool with me.
Or the scene in one of the songs.
I don't need to fucking hear about it. I don't need to fucking hear about it.
They have to put their hand through, and it cuts with chainsaws.
I don't need that shit.
A saw blade. Paper cuts to the max.
No torture porn. No, thank you.
I'm in the same boat as Doug. I mean, I like.
I'm a giant
things.
pussy. I don't want to see none of that.
I mean, I don't know what you would consider like Scream
It's a thriller.
thriller.
I'm fine with Scream.
What about I don't know which one it is 1308 or 1408.
I don't even know what
That's probably a sci-fi thriller. So.
But I mean, I can stand certain things, but I don't like the gore.
Yeah,
that
the
crap.
gore.
Yeah, like,
One,
fuck that.
I'm not the biggest on horror flicks, but there is one that I saw that I watched with an old girlfriend of mine a long time ago. It was called Funny Games. If you get the chance, check that one out. It had her in tears. She was so afraid. But you know, the trailer for it made it seem like it would be kind of entertaining, and then I actually saw it, and man, it's pretty interesting. But that was just one that pops off the top of my head.
What's it called?
Funny Games.
I probably won't watch it.
It was originally in, I want to say Sweden, but I don't think it was. But then they remade it for the U.S. And it was pretty much like shot by shot. You know, like opening scene was panned the same way, and just they had different actors. But
every horror movie I've watched like with a girlfriend has been like, the girlfriend is like, let's watch this shit. And I'm like, no, we're not watching this shit. Like she's comforting me because I can't handle it. Dude, like every time I see like some like list of like fucked up like Halloween movies or like disturbing stuff, like this movie always comes up. And so I wikied it just to see what the fuck it was, because everyone's like, this is the most insane fucking shit you'll ever see.
Human Centipede.
No.
Okay.
No. No. And I don't even think this counts as like horror. It's just, it always gets lopped in with people's like fucked up movie lists or whatever, which inevitably always has some horror movies on it. And every time I read it, read these lists, people are like, there's some movie called Serbian Film. I fucking read the wiki of it and I was like almost vomiting just reading the fucking wiki of it. And that's all I'm going to say, because it's that fucked up. It is that fucked. Think of the most fucked up things imaginable. That's how fucked up it is. And I was like,
I don't know. I've seen a clip from The Thing, so
I don't know. You wiki a Serbian film and you don't throw up on yourself, and then we'll talk. I don't know.
So there you go. If you're really interested in horror films,
We're big babies.
No, I was gonna say there is a friend that I know who reviews horror films, and she does podcasts as well. Her name is Rebecca Hertzberg. So definitely look her up and check out some of her reviews. She does a lot of old VHS movie reviews as well. That's a big specialty on hers. So check her out. And if you happen to do so, tell her that we sent you, or I sent you. So let's see. Question dos. If all the icons of horror, such as Freddy, Jason, Frankenstein, Chucky, Gilman, etc., all got into a Royal Rumble match, who would come out on top? Who would be the winner to be able to end the Undertaker's streak at Mania?
David Bowie.
David Bowie's not. We're not doing David Bowie again. Although as entertaining as it was, he is not in this genre.
Okay.
So, Freddy, Jason, Frankenstein, Chucky. Who's gonna win? Take us through it. Take us through it, Tyler.
I don't know.
Just use your mind. Remember, Freddy's the one with the giant claw hand.
Free your mind, and the rest
fedora.
will follow.
Jason's the one with the hockey mask and the machete.
Who's Gilman?
I have no idea.
Maybe like Creature from the Black Lagoon type dude.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Oh. And Chucky's the little doll.
Well, Gilman will get
Which
sliced up.
freaked me out as a kid. Like, I remember, like, my parents were watching when I was a kid, and I, like, peek around the corner to see what was going on. Like, I was supposed to be in there and be like, what the fuck is this?
I remember
Run back to my room, like, oh, no.
Child's Play 2 came on the USA Network all the time after Raw, and I watched it every single time. And I was like, this is not scary.
What?
It was not scary.
That's fucking
you
weird.
Kick the guy, and he goes flying.
Not when you're a kid.
No.
If you're the kid size, he's like your size practically. And he's got fucking knives and shit.
Those are little tiny kids.
Do you know how to fucking handle a knife? You don't know how to handle a knife.
Grip it and stab it. That's all you got to do. But yeah. So Tyler, take us through who
I guess Gilman will be sliced up
by
Freddie and Jason.
Freddie and Jason.
I got Frank. I got Frankensteiner. Frankensteiner. I got Frankenstein. I don't know why.
Pretty sure
Wrestled a lot of-
Frankenstein will like
wrestled a lot of
stomp
country.
on Chucky.
Yeah, that'd pretty much be the end of that.
I don't know that he may be like Chucky may be the Ray in like the Ray like big man match.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got the
619.
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm Chucky. Wanna play? And they've already done a Freddy versus Jason movie, so you know.
No one really wins on that one.
No one. Yeah, I hate those whenever they do that.
No one won.
Nobody wins. Fudge.
Shit, I don't know. I guess they fight. Freddy and Jason, they're fighting. They're about to kill each other, and Frankenstein eliminates them over the rope. I don't fucking know.
Double face palm.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. So Frankenstein's your winner on that one. All right. Sounds good. Let's see. The third one is, other than the Phenom, who are your favorite horror-themed wrestlers? I'd have to say mine is Hollow Wicked, and much like Doug, I am Chikara as well.
All right.
And also, I just wanted to give you guys a huge thank you for turning me on to Nightmare Pro Wrestling. Comic books plus monsters plus wrestling equals pure awesomeness. Can't wait till issue 5 comes out. Take care, guys.
Heck yeah, man.
So it's always nice whenever we have some new, we can send some business John's way.
Yeah.
Because like Doug said, diapers aren't cheap. So thank you for the question. As far as favorite horror themed wrestlers, the only one that really pops into my mind would be Kane, or maybe like Vampiro, or Gangrel even.
Yeah, Boogeyman.
Yeah,
Viscera.
Yeah. The world's largest love machine. Viscera.
Well, not that Viscera.
You're right.
But
I'd go with Kane.
I like Hollow Wicked a lot too. I think he's super underrated. I think he's underrated even within Chikara. But yeah, I don't know. That's super tough.
would you consider Jigsaw
No.
a horror? No.
Okay.
Fuck.
I pick.
I'm gonna say Frightmare just so I don't ape his Hollow Wicked pick. So,
Okay.
but show some Chikara love as well. Yeah, I'm not that crazy on those type of gimmicks.
Do we have any new updates for Chikara?
There's tons of stuff going on. There's always new videos coming out. There's always new stuff going on the message boards.
For a company that doesn't exist anymore, and you should just give it up.
I love listening to Doug talking about all this stuff, and I don't know that much about Chikara, but I'm gonna say when it gets back together, I'm gonna start watching, and I want to be into it. I want to know what's going on.
You want to be Chikara?
Yes.
All right. There you go.
I will say, I don't mind when horror guys are kind of co-opted into other roles, like your Frankenstein's Agents of Shade type stuff, or what's that like the movie where they had the battle royal with Kevin Nash calling the action of monsters wrestling each other. I never got around to seeing it, but that sounds like I would be totally into that, right?
Yeah.
It's funny.
But as far as horror, I don't mind using those characters in other genres, but as far as straight up horror, it's just not for me. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, there you go.
But I don't know, Hugh. Just to I did pick Frightmare as to not ape your Hollow Wicked, but I just have to say that I'm a really big Ultramanus Black guy, so that's where my allegiance is.
There you go. And once again, thanks for checking out Nightmare Pro Wrestling. I'm glad that we could get you into that. Make sure to show your support for John by going to nightmareprowrestling.com, checking out some of his prints. He does the Monday Night Draw, where he'll take something that inspired him from Monday Night Raw, make a sketch of it, and he'll sell it to you. It's a one-of-a-kind kind of thing. So it's really cool. And if you didn't like what he drew that week, then check back the next week, and we try and share some of the stuff he did. I think this week he did what's in Seth Rollins' pockets.
What's it called? It's probably not sold though, or is it? I don't know if it's sold. The
Cesaro swing, the big Kali.
I don't know if that's sold.
I don't know. You have to check it out. But go to nightmareprowrestling.com. Check out that.
Rollins.
So, and if you like his Facebook page, make sure you tell him that we sent you. We would certainly. I'm sure he would appreciate the likes and the business as well. And also go to asteroidbeltcompany.com with our good buddy Eric Konishny.
Way to go!
Hey! Had to think about it there for a second. But get your custom-made championship belts as well. So really cool stuff. Make sure you support these guys. They put a lot of time and effort into what they do. And, any help that we can do helps them out as well. And also for those who are following what we're doing as far as WrestleMania plans, we've booked our Ring of Honor tickets. So if you're going to be planning to go to Ring of Honor, definitely let us know. Or WrestleMania, let us know. We're going to try and maybe set up a time where we can all just get together and hang out somewhere. So,
or if you're going to these shows, then by all means, come say what's up to us.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Not that we think we're so important that you need to come say hi to us, but if for
be like, hey, what's up?
But if for the reason that you would want to come say hi to us, by all means, please do. Yeah. We would love to.
It's cool to meet the listeners.
Yeah,
whoever wants to meet us.
Like when we were at Comic Palooza this past year, someone was like, "Oh, hey man, I listen to you guys all the time."
Yeah,
so,
that was neat.
Certainly do appreciate it. It's always nice to meet up with some of you guys. So,
that was Tyler's cousin.
So there you go.
I kid.
So thank you for the questions. Thank you for the feedback. Make sure to submit your feedback and questions on our YouTube page, WNS Video. Also our Facebook page, WNS Podcast. You can also check us out on WrestlingNewsSource.com and WrestlingNewsSource.com on Facebook. And you can also subscribe to us on iTunes by searching Wrestling News Source Podcast.
WNS Podcast on Twitter. That's for us. And for the main site, WN Source.
Yeah, and again, Stitcher, please.
Yeah.
Give us some reviews over there. We just figured out that we can get reviews
over there. We know how
to
do it now, so we'll be on it.
Yeah. And for those people that it took us a while to get to, thank you. Woo-hoo. We're sorry it took so long. We know now.
Yes. And knowledge is power.
G.I. Joe.
So there you go for the podcast crew. I am Dano Herron.
I'm Tyler Abear.
I'm Doug.
And we'll catch you all next week.
Bye.